So you finally made it out of the chaos that is caves, just to be met with an even bigger challenge in town. Possibly the first challenge in Sulfur that's going to make you question if you even want to keep playing, because it can be so difficult at times, but it's okay, because this video is designed to help you get through town and to help you, farm town. And let's say if you're a veteran player and you're looking for things that you should be looking for, well, that's why I wanted to make these videos. They're ultimate guides to everything you could find in each area of Sulfur. We already did caves, so don't ask for it. We're going to talk about town, everything about town, and then probably a little, maybe a little bit about town. At first, town is a very daunting place, some place you don't really want to keep going back to, but once you get the hang of the game and you get better guns, it's actually a lot of fun to run around in, because it's not as confusing of a layout as, say, caves, sewers, or dungeon, because everything is pretty much a straight shot. It seems a little bit easier to run in and out of rooms to loot. And I just want to mention before we really get into this that we are in early access of Sulfur. Everything and anything is subject to change, so if anything in this guide, say a year from now, doesn't look right or doesn't make sense, that's why. I want to help people that are playing right now. I don't want to be like with everything an asterisk saying, well, it could change. So just take note that some things that are happening in game right now might not be the case a long time from now, especially when we get to the secrets part of the video, because some of the secrets are just major glitches that will help you get through town. If it's your first time getting through, if it's your 1 millionth time getting through, these are really valuable things, at least in my opinion, that I do every single run, but we'll get to that. Like I said, that's in the secrets portion. First, we need to start with the equipment, because every single time you go into an area, you have to think about what you're bringing in. It's not like caves, which is designed that you can bring in the father shirt and the dirk. If you bring in the father shirt and the dirk into town, you're probably going to face quite a bit of trouble, because most enemies are going to be shooting back at you, at least the ones that are holding a gun. Isn't that quite obvious, though? I'm not saying it's impossible to beat it with the dirk and the father shirt, but I don't recommend it, especially if you're struggling. I would recommend something automatic like an SMG, LMG, or especially an assault rifle. Remember when we talked about caves, you can get one from the Hawkland salesman, so you just go get that corpse maker and then come back to town, and it will make things so much easier. In this game, ARs are king above everything else, especially when it comes to humans, because that's majority of what you're going to be facing in town is the dudes with the masks. We call them fellers humans. You want to crack those masks, we'll get into those, don't worry. But an AR is going to help you tremendously. As far as what clothes to wear, whatever you want, that really is totally personal preference in pretty much every area. There are some areas where it's suggested to bring something that will help a little bit more with the parkour, the jumping around, the craziness of the maps, but town is certainly not one of them, whereas in most of the pathing is linear and you don't have to jump up anywhere a lot of the time. Actually, is there any case where you do have to jump? I don't think so. I think everything is pretty much flat ground. There are areas up above, but they all pretty much have ramps going to them, so you don't need any kind of parkour to be able to surpass town, which is interesting. Parkour could help you get a better vantage point to shoot down at people. I don't know. If you're looking for a reason to bring in those sulfurs, you don't need one. They're just good for when you're in combat in general. I'll never tell you exactly what you need to bring in because there's so much in this game and it all boils down to whatever you like using the most, whatever makes the game more fun for you. There's like 800 plus things of loot. Who knows? One thing that works really well for someone could work really bad for another person, but that's a nice thing of the abundance of things that we have. So you could totally bring in some semi-auto weapons. I would probably chisel them, add some strong oils in there. I like bringing a Balthasar with the shotgun chisel, so when I shoot them in the face, they just die because it's so freaking strong. But that's only if you're comfortable with gun building. If you haven't really tinkered around with gun building too much, I do have a video on that where I go into a crash course about everything gun building. That might be able to help you, or you could just learn it on your own. It's up to you. So you got your equipment in check, you got your bag in hand, you're ready to send it to take on the challenge that is town. Make sure you have a charged amulet. Some people don't like areas outside of caves because you can't charge your amulet and then leave back to church. Well, you can charge it at the pipe smoker. Just an FYI. Hopefully I don't mention that a million times this video. It's been over a month since I made the caves one, so I don't know exactly what I said in there. I rewatched it to make sure I didn't rehash too many things. I'm not sure if I mentioned the pipe smoker, but remember, always remember, the pipe smoker next to the grave can refill your amulet, and then you get a free charge. You don't just have to go to caves to do that. So for my newcomers, my vets, my everybody, if you're in town, you're going to want to be looking for certain things. That's what we call farming in gaming circles. And there's some things that drop here more than anywhere else, or at least some things that didn't drop at all in caves but drop here a lot, like herbs. Herbs are the first thing you're going to notice we're not in caves, and they're dropping all over the place in town. You'll see them pretty much everywhere else in the rest of the game, but they're very important to making things like magic potions with 1 herb and 3 rod sop mushrooms, or pizza, which is 1 herb, cheese, a sausage, and bread. That's a whole thing. I mean, don't ask me where the pizza sauce is coming from. I don't know. Where's the tomatoes? Perfect random. How are we doing this? What are you doing? At least throw in a ketchup packet or something so that it makes sense. Where's that red sauce coming from, baby? Come on, I know pizza construction. This ain't it. You'll also start to see stuff like nut spread. That's just Nutella, and you didn't see that in caves. It's not that important. It's a decent little buff, but it's going to take up 4 slots of your inventory, so it's not totally recommended to be running around with those. You can put it with bread to make a peanut butter sandwich. Again, I'm not understanding the food construction here. Perfect random. What's going on here? You'll also notice that bread drops a lot more frequently in town. I don't know if that's an Easter egg to that one story where the guy's like begging for a loaf of bread or whatever because he's poor. You know, who cares about poor people? Just kidding. I am very poor, so I care. I'll eat the bread. But bread drops in caves. It drops everywhere. I just noticed personally I see a lot more bread in town than I see anywhere else. I don't know why. Pizza construction, most likely. You'll also start finding spaghetti, and you can combine the spaghetti noodles with any kind of flesh, human flesh, dog flesh, and you can have spaghetti bolognese, which is a very powerful heal. It does take up 2 slots, so it's not one of the better heals. Well, it's not one of the god tier heals, but it is one of the better heals. So if you can make spaghetti bolognese, make it. It's very, very good. You can also make it, I think, with mystery meat, but just use the flesh, because you're going to find the flesh and be like, what do I just sell this, or just make spaghetti bolognese, forehead? Ooh, now we get to one of my favorites, being the power bar. The power bar is an absolute essential in Sulfur. Whether you're speedrunning or you're struggling in an area, you could pop a couple power bars to run past everything, because speed stacks in this game. There is no limit to how fast you can go. I love that they chose to do that, because you could just be the blue blur, my man Sonic the Hedgehog, through any area that you want. Just make power bars when you can. You're going to be able to find cocoa or cacao, however the hell you're supposed to. It's cacao, not cocoa. You can find cacao in town, and you can also find sawdust, or you got some from caves, because sticks are in abundance in caves, and 2 sticks is 3 sawdust. And you could still find a lot of sticks in town as well by breaking any of the planks, chairs, just anything can drop some sticks as long as you broke it and it's made of wood. Combine 1 sawdust, 1 cacao, and you've got a power bar. There's other ways to make power bars, like soda and oats. I personally feel like the best use of your ingredients is a cacao and a sawdust, because soda is really good if you're poisoned or on fire, and who cares about oats? Yeah, get them out of here. I just eat them as soon as they enter my inventory. I don't care. You will start seeing blood as well. Sometimes you'll see blood. It's very, very rare that you'll see the blood, all right? I don't want to go too far into how much blood you're going to see, because you might not see it at all. Blood can be used if you mix 1 blood and 1 jam. Was it strawberry, raspberry jam? Red jam? The friggin' jam. Actually, it is the sweet jam, so don't do the unsweetened one. If you got the unsweetened one, you got to add some sugar to that to make the good jam. And you add that jam to the blood, and you've got a magic potion or a health potion, whatever it's called, and that's pretty freaking awesome. That's a really cheap way to get a free health potion, which is the best healing item in the game. Don't come at me. If you come at me with pizza right now, I swear to you, pizza does not remove poison and burning. I'm just kidding. They're interchangeable, because you get a pizza, you slice it, you get a lot more than what you got for the health potion, but I do like the added benefit of removing poison and fire. Like, if you can have infinite amount of either one, I think we'd all pick the health potion. There's also a bunch of weird food you can find that can make some rare and stupid, honestly stupid recipes that are unimportant, but you can find like stuff like dumplings, whatever, you know. It's a quick heal, just chomp it down. It's nothing special. I don't care about you dumplings at all. One of the things you might not notice right away, but you probably will, because it's a video game and it's a cash register, so obviously money's going to come out of it. Yes, you can farm for money all throughout town. You can keep going through it, keep popping cash registers, and you'll find money for days. I'm not sure if you could make more money popping those, or just getting the 1,000 from doing caves over and over again. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Didn't mean to knock my hand into the mic. That was really rude of me, and I will end my YouTube career. This was out of pocket. I'm sorry. But yeah, make sure to pop those cash registers. Keep getting the money, the dollar bills, y'all. They're going to be important. You can find them in any bar, and then some other places will have them too. They're like little snack shacks. I don't know what you'd call them. They're like little hideaways. We'll also have them along some other places. Sometimes you'll even just find them out and about. Something really important you can grind for is trinkets at the end of town. After the mini boss, there will always be a trinket or a gun. I think the guns can be the Pale Horse Top Clipper or the SOCOM 9, and the trinkets can be, I think, any of them, but I mostly just see the Sheriff Star and the Assault dog tags, but I have seen a couple of the lucky 4-leaf clovers. But you're really not going to come across those too often. It's most likely going to be the SOCOM or the Pale Horse Top Clipper if you got the crappy luck that I have. Whew, so that's a lot of things to farm. There's probably some other stuff I didn't say, as in like some weirder foods that start to show up, like probably candy bars is the first time you could see them, but they're not totally important, and their spawn rates aren't significant enough for me to mention them here. Now, if I did forget to mention something at any point in this guide, I'm only human, and I don't claim to be an encyclopedia, an almanac, or any of that bullshit. So feel free to comment below and tell everyone what you farm for, what you look for, and your strategies for town, so that we can help each other instead of, just being mad at me for missing it. Let's just do this as a community, like a group. It's a group effort to get better at Sulfur, to help others, and to keep enjoying the game that we love. And to also keep killing the enemies, because there's a lot of new enemies, sort of, because you can witness some of these enemies in caves, like the assault rifle guys are very easy to come across in the waterfall room. For the most part, this is going to be your first time facing off against these guys in droves. And when it comes to humans, most of the time you're going to want to break that mask above all else, because when you break that mask, they become a pussy. They do. They become a little wimp. And it's time for you to kill them, or their partners will kill them, because they acknowledge the fact that they are cowardly as well. That's right, you break that mask and they start crying, and then a lot of the time the enemies will just team up on them and kill them. Sometimes they'll have tunnel vision on you, but it's only if you're ever too close. It seems like it's a proximity thing when they decide not to kill the guy who's crying, so be very careful with that. Don't get too cocky assuming they're always going to attack them over you. The assault rifle guys, I think, are kind of slept on for how strong they are. Everybody wants to talk about the dogs, but your first few times through town, the assault rifle guys really suck, and I think they suck up until the Gatling guys, which you actually might be able to see a couple of Gatling guys in town if you're unlucky. The assault rifle guys, they're laser beams. They do not miss. So if you see them, those shots will hit you. Be very, very careful of that, because if enough of them hit you, it's going to hurt. So be weary of that. Make sure to take cover, pop out, destroy them, and then also take note of the fact that any enemy firing patterns, they will continue the firing. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as they shoot a projectile. As soon as they start to fire, they're going to finish the fire, and then you pop out. So if an assault rifle guy takes a shot at you, he's going to go brr, 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 and then you wait behind a corner, wait for him to stop, then come out and shoot him. That's your opportunity if you don't want to take damage. Now, you could just try to break that mask and not worry about taking cover. Sometimes it's better to just run free, baby. Just be careful, because they can smack like a truck. Then you got the melee boys. Now, these guys, also, did I forget to mention, I just used nicknames. I don't know their exact names. But the melee boys are pretty much cannon fire. They're very easy to kill. Don't let them get close to you. I mean, they're wielding a giant bat. If you let them get close to you, yes, they can kill you. But why are you doing that? Then there's the Phantom of the Opera guy. You met him in caves. Most likely, if you ever came across a skelly maze, he was up top in one of the corners, hanging out with his pup. Remember what I said about firing patterns? Wait for him to shoot a shot, then jump out. It's a lot easier to kill him than the assault rifle guy, because once he shoots a shot, he likes to relocate wherever he was to somewhere else, so he's going to be on the move, and then he always waits a second before he shoots, so it's going to come down to whether you suck at aiming or not. That's the bold truth of it. If you suck at aiming, that dude gives you more than enough time to just kill him real quick. And it's okay to suck at aiming. You'll get better. You have to learn hitboxes and how guns fire. It's not your fault all the time if you suck at aiming, especially when games have spread like this. And this game does have spread. Maybe you didn't realize that all the way through caves. I have a hard time believing you got all the way through caves before you're like, hey, wait a second, some of these bullets aren't hitting. Remember the sodas we talked about? try to bring some. Buy some from Stiff Leg, because there are elemental bosses, a chance of elemental bosses at the end of town, and it can be very stressful. I just said you might see a Gatling guy in town. You will see a Gatling guy in town. That is the mini boss of the game, is 3 Gatling guys that will all spawn in some giant, like, Coliseum concert hall thing. It's an amphitheater, probably is the correct word we're looking for there. And like I said, one of them could be elemental, so you don't want to have to deal with 3 scary Gatling guys and being poisoned or burned. Bring a few sodas. Stiff Leg sells them for next to nothing. Fleece the man and save your life. As far as the Gatling guys go, in my opinion, they are the toughest enemies in the game because of how strong and hard they hit. They also have that auto-aim, aimbot thing where they're gonna hit you if they're aiming at you. There is no remorse. There is no missing. Strike first, strike hard, strike fast. They are going to murder you if you stay in an open area and you don't take cover or you don't kill them very quickly. That Gatling gun can take you from full health to 20% health. I'm not kidding. Be careful. That armor's not going to help you as much as you want it to. So just play really smart around them. In the town mini-boss fight, I would take cover behind one area. They're coming in. Okay, so let me try to break this down. When you come in from the area, there will always be one that spawns to the left. That is always 100% the case. On the left wall, there will always be one there. I recommend taking him down first and then focus the other 2 by using one of the pillars that he was at as cover, like the pillars in front of him, and then trying to kill one while you've got cover from the other one. But be ready, because they teleport and it's going to happen very, very quickly. Of course, if you don't want to break masks, you can always shoot them in the throat. I wrote that way too low in my notes. Just shoot them in the throat if you're trying to avoid breaking masks, because you can pretty much kill anything quickly by hitting them right below the mask. Maybe it's supposed to be the heart. I don't know. It's like right here, right below the mask. And of course, you have the dogs. We've talked about the dogs so much on this channel. Everyone's talked about the dogs in the Sulfur Discord. Everybody's talked about the dogs on the Reddit. The Steam reviews are full of them. The dogs are very, very, very difficult to play against because they don't apply, the rules of nature don't apply to them. Plain and simple, that's the only reason. They're super freaks. They can lunge through the air 7 or 8 times before touching the ground. They can kill you in 4 or 5 hits. Sometimes there's 5 or 6 of them all at once. Dogs are very stressful, and you need to focus up, clutch up, keep monitoring your health, and try to kill them as quickly as you can, because they are going to pick up speed faster than anything else chasing you, at least in town. I'm just going to step in really quick because there was an update that just dropped right before I finished this video. I'm still currently editing the video, but an update dropped that changed a lot of things about the game, including the drops at the end of town. It no longer drops trinkets. It will drop like chests now. And I'm going to pause a couple times throughout the video to update the video. It's annoying, but it is what it is, because I don't really want to reverse all the progress. I'll just do a quick update like this. Right now, the only thing I noticed that's super different in town is the change of the trinkets. There was also a nerf to the dog. If there's anything else, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to mention it. But the dogs were slightly nerfed. They're not as intense anymore. Still a challenge, but not as intense. And the trinkets. The trinkets no longer drop at the end of town. That was a big thing about farming town, was the trinkets. Instead, you get 2 black chests now. Maybe there's a small chance at a trinket. I don't know. But all I got was 2 black chests. Here's a clip from when it happened on stream. Not that I know. It wasn't in the pack. What the hell is this? Where's the trinket drop? What? Dude, this sucks. Because I've been working on the town guide. I literally just got through the part. I just finished the part about the trinkets having a chance to spawn at the end of town, and then this happens? You can't be serious. You can't make this shit up, dude. Ghosts are back, and they will be throughout the entirety of Sulfur. You'll see ghosts everywhere except for the cave boss fight and one other place. 2 other places, actually. But we haven't gotten there yet, and I'm not going to bring it up because that would be called spoiling the game. I'm not going to do that. Say you haven't made it past town, and this guy spoils the areas that are way ahead? Wow. Cancel him. It's worse than clickbaiting. You know, I did get accused a little bit, a tiny bit. I saw a conversation. You know what sucked? I saw a conversation about me, and I wish I didn't, but I happened across it somewhere, and I'm not going to say where. And I saw a conversation about me. I only say it sucked because those aren't for me. Like, those conversations are for other people, and I respect that. And I shouldn't see it, because people should feel as if they can say whatever they want about anyone they want without, Big Brother is watching. I wish I didn't see it, but I did see it. And then I read some of it, and a couple people kind of said I was clickbaity with some of the stuff I do. I only do that because I think it's fun. I do think it's fun. I used to not like that kind of style, and then I started doing it with like the selfies and everything, and I was like, this is really fun. And it's also distracting from the video. This is supposed to be a town guide. Why am I talking about that? But yeah, I like making goofy thumbnails and stupid titles, all right? It's fun to me. That's the only reason, is because it's fun. It's like a creative experiment. And I don't ever lie. I don't lie in them. I just make them, it's like over-exaggeration, Just like I'm over-exaggerating everything, ever. So those are the real big bads of the game, but not really. You're actually missing out on the most evil, vile, scummy, awful people in the history of gaming. That's right, the orphan and his parents, that whole thing didn't make sense. The orphan kid, and then the mom, the dad, and the chickens are all evil, unstoppable monsters that can be stopped. Everything I just said was super contradictory. Don't write it down, but kill everything. Kill everything. Why wouldn't you kill everything? It's a video game. Just murder. That's your goal. There's also a chance of androids. We talked about the androids before. If you haven't seen them, you haven't seen them. But if you do see them, they're very hard to take down. Just be careful. Consider how high their health pool is, and probably try to fight them from a distance. They'll also be fighting everything else around you, so don't push yourself into them. Lay low a little bit and then try to kill them. If you can successfully kill them, you'll get some high-end loot. Oh, well, he goes down easy. Oh, a denim jacket from the future? But the chances of androids spawning are very, very small. The only time they seem to spawn is when you're speedrunning and you don't even want to kill anything because you're speedrunning. And you're like, wow, finally androids. Sulfur is a game built on RNG. There are no guarantees, except when there are guarantees. Every area in Sulfur has a few guaranteed spawns for things and interactions and stuff that can happen. One of the biggest guarantees is a robot soul capsule at the end of the mini town boss fight, the town mini boss fight. Bleh. A robot soul capsule doesn't seem like much now, but eventually everyone's thinking robot parts will do something, perhaps even create little robot companions. No one knows for sure, but continue to pick it up at the end of every run because it sells for a pretty little penny from my man Stiffleg or Ralphie or whichever vendor you choose. That robot soul capsule is free SULF coin. And then right before that mini boss fight, you're going to find a room filled with all kinds of ammo. It might actually have every type of ammo, so make sure to get all the ammo in that room before you go in. Just to help stockpile a little bit. Help feed that hoarding issue you said that you don't have. And of course, the trinket or the gun at the end is another guarantee. Then there's a weird one. The amulet charge zone in town is very strange and unlike anything else in Sulfur as far as amulet charging goes. Because it doesn't have a cutscene. So if you don't like having to watch a cutscene and doing the same dialogue over and over again, me neither, then you can go to town, get an amulet charge, and not have to go through all that loading and talking about stuff that you already know. So that's nice. I like going through town for an amulet charge. As well in that area, you're going to see the same enemies every time, plus a couple more if the spawns are not in your favor. On the far end, you'll see a sniper, one of the Phantom of the Opera guys. You'll also see a dog and an assault rifle guy. They're always there. I don't know what that is, but I've noticed those three will always be in the vicinity of the amulet charge zone, but probably more enemies, so don't get too cute, kid. And when we're talking vendors, you got a lot of the same vendors you get from caves. You got Vex, you got Ralphie, Stiffleg, that bitch Kevin. They're all going to show up, but you also got a new arrival in the Chef. The Chef is going to have all your food needs. He is amazing for challenge runs, especially ones where you don't get to bring in a full thing of inventory, or if you're just looking to make specific recipes. Always go see the Chef. He's always got a rotating bit of food, but a lot of the same consistent foods you'll find in there, like sugar and water. So go see him, get the hookup. You're going to be using him a lot because we're always looking for that one thing we can't seem to find. Mr. Chef will have that for you. There are some fun little secrets that you can find throughout town, like the hospital rooms have a chance at spawning a med kit or a health potion. Bet you didn't know that, because I didn't know that for a long time. Then I came in there and found a freaking health potion on the ground and was blown away. I was like, what, there's a free health potion just sitting here. I didn't even know there was supposed to be like a hospital room until I saw that there. And then the next time I saw paper, and then the next time I saw a first aid kit, and I was like, oh, it's supposed to be like a little hospital room. Yeah, going in there every time is pretty essential for free and really powerful heals. You've got a few black chest spawns throughout the map. You can find them in the T room. That's the room you enter that turns into like a capital T. It'll be on one of the ends. You can find a black chest in there. One of the more common places to find a black chest, because it's not guaranteed in the T room, and it's not guaranteed in this area. In fact, they're not guaranteed in any area in town, actually. But the parkour area, where the ground is all shitty, I don't know how else to put it. You don't need to parkour. You can walk up the side, but if you want to get that chest, it's going to be easier if you just jump to it. It will always be in the middle of that parkour area, the crumbled area, the ruins. You'll find a black chest there. Black chests have guns, red chests have clothes, and browns have anything. There's also a really, really rare chance of a black chest spawning in a bar or a pub if you're un-American, or even some Americans. I don't know. There's not a difference between a pub and a bar, right? No, there's not. It's not like a bar and grill. You can get chicken fingers. You could probably get chicken fingers at a bar, too, to be real with you. Wow, I went real cowboy with you, to get real with you. I didn't see a black chest in a bar for like at least 20 or 30 runs, and then I happened to see it in the corner tucked away. I think they may have added that in the last patch, because for the first million times I ran it, like I said, I didn't see one. And then all of a sudden they're spawning in that one little corner next to the rows of tables. This might be the best secret of the entire level, and it's actually a pretty cool point to the entirety of Sulfur, and that is enemies spawn when you spawn. A lot of people complain, even in the Steam reviews, saying, oh, this game likes to just spawn enemies on me when I'm too good. Nah, pal. They spawn as soon as you enter a level. All of the enemies spawn. You can see it yourself. Go into dev mode and fly through. You'll see all the enemies are spawned up. There's no late spawns or any of that crap. They all just show up when you show up. So what does that mean for us? If we're on Town 5 and we go into the boss fight area, there's a certain place you can step to where it will trigger the song, the boss fight music. It'll get really loud. That's how you know you're in the boss fight. If you don't step up to that area, you can actually kill all of the mini-bosses before the fight even begins. Through the curtain. I mean, it's incredible. It's so helpful. But I know some people don't want to glitch. They don't want to exploit, so there are ways to beat. Obviously, it's a totally beatable boss fight, but if you just want to skip it altogether, just shoot them through the curtain. It's even easier if you have a gun with elemental effect like Storm Surge or Charm or just, yeah, Aftershock is what I used to use a lot. It's really easy. You know, I just realizing that I put the black chest note in secrets. It's not really a secret. It's more of the looting and specialties of town. That's what we'll get to right now. Like finding a small little bookcase area. You can find scrolls in there. They're often spawn in the middle of the bookcases. That's just a nice little bit of money you can get, or even a scroll you might have been looking for. Town has brown chests galore. Most areas in Sulfur have a lot of brown chests, but I feel like town has more than any other. They're everywhere. I would argue town is one of the best places in Sulfur for general looting because of the amount of chests you could find, because of the amount of enemies you can kill. It's dangerous, so you're going in there, you're facing the danger. There's a lot of stuff to find while you're doing it. Some of those chests are going to try to blend into the environment too, like the one on the docks or the one underneath the ladder in the small room going up to the other level. That's the worst description of an area, but there's like a room with a ladder, and it always goes up to a top level. Even if there's a wall there's always up to a top level, because that's what ladders do, dumbass. We talked about the bar, but the bar holds many secrets. Like you can find an old vintage on the backside, or I think you can also find wine there. But there's a couple places where wine can be. Old vintage is really good though, because it sells for a lot of Sulf coin. So every time you go in there, you open up that cash register, you cook a little something on the grill there. There's always a grill in the bar. Maybe it is a bar and grill. It's more of a furnace. Can we change it to a grill? Is it too late for that? Doesn't matter. Even one of the little garbage grills. But it's nicer to have the furnace, because the furnace has more room to cook better things. That's a pro tip. That's a Sulfur pro tip for you. For free. You don't need this. I'm not even charging you for that. Keep looking for those old vintages, because they sell for a bunch. So always check that little area, little cubby right there. There's also like rubber you can find, rubber and paper, which is not that extravagant, but they can be found in bars pretty frequently. I'm not sure why a ball of rubber is there. Shouldn't it be the used rubber? Spoiler alert, there's used rubbers in this game. Later you'll see condoms. Straight up used condoms. I don't know. I don't know why it's there. It's funny. Maybe that's why. And then obviously you're going to notice this right away. But there could be guns on the bar, like where the bar is. Guns and ammo can be up there. There's also a chance at some food dishes to be found on the tables. Like good food dishes. French food dishes. French frog leg dishes. That's really good. Just in general, there's so much looting to do. Check every single room. You will find something. Sodas, Gonsters. Somebody posted a picture of an actual Gonster today, and I was like, that's a real thing? Like, people are actually drinking that? I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a morning coffee. But I think it's like a energy drink and a Guinness or something. Like a Monster and a Guinness. So I looked at it, I was like, Gonster? Like, oh, like I gotta go, I gotta run, I'm Gonster. No, it's like an alcoholic thing. I don't know where it's from. I just saw that there was a Reddit post about it, which is pretty cool. It looks exactly like it does in the game. I thought that was like a bottled beverage, like the Gonster, something you get in Sweden or some shit. So for speedrunning, guys, I know we talked about caves being one of my least favorite areas for speedrunning. And I'm just going to have to be that guy and say town is easily number one. It's my favorite area to speedrun. There's only one other area that comes as close, and it doesn't come close. Town is so much fun to speedrun because it's not confusing. It's a lot easier to find your way, and you could pop way more power bars and basically fly around with a pair of sulfurs. Or if you eat a bunch of power bars, you can use a dunce cap and fly around. Yeah, I like speedrunning. I used to, not as much now because the mob density has changed and I don't find it as fun, but I still find town to be really fun to speedrun. So if you like speedrunning, this might end up being your favorite place to do it. Okay, we've talked a lot, I know. We always do. But there's still some additional notes I wanted to say. I couldn't come up with a better way of doing that. I called it Addy notes, and I made it even more boring. These are the Addy notes. These are the additional things I wanted to mention when it comes to playing town and mastering it. In town, you're going to see a lot more swarms of enemies. The mob density is much greater than it was in caves, and it can be really fun, but it can also be very dangerous and stressful. So make sure at any time be ready to teleport out, because sometimes you could be swarmed with 30 guys and you just left spawn. There's not a lot you could do. The best case scenario would be to jump past them, but let's say you jump past them into more enemies. Sometimes you got to take the L, or you brought a super powerful kit and you can mow through all of them. It really depends on what happens. I mean, it's all RNG. This game is all RNG. Just be very careful and be prepared to teleport out if you do not feel powerful enough to take on 30 plus dudes right when you leave the starting area. And those swarms really start to show in around town 4 and 5, from my experience. That's where you'll see the majority of those giant swarms of enemies. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned the enemy types in any of my videos, which seems like a silly thing to leave out, but maybe I haven't. So real quick, you've got splitters. You've got, I should mention what splitters do. Splitters, when you kill them, will become 3 smaller enemies. Whatever they were, they'll become 3 of those. You've got clones. Those clones, when you kill them, will become something else. Anything else that could be very dangerous. You've got elemental enemies. When they attack you, they'll apply fire, frozen, poison, electric. Be careful of them. You definitely ran into some wizards in caves, but now you'll be seeing it even more. They also just added trails, which will have a frozen trail. It will have poison, fire. Those can be really dangerous and really scary. Try to kill those guys first, and they're gonna probably kill some of their own people anyways, but don't let them get too close, because when they die, you don't want to be left in a pile of molten lava. No, you don't. Then there's also the explosive enemies. You kill them, they explode. What a coincidence. And then there's the big stinkies. I think they're supposed to have like a mountain, but to me, I thought that was poop above their head for a long time, so they're the big stinkies. You know, if I'm forgetting any... Oh, the mini ones. There's also the mini ones. They got little purple, the little small guys. And those are the only, like, mutations, I think is what they're called, that we have available in Sulfur rate available. It's not available. It's what we're dealing with. These are the ones we're dealing with right now in Sulfur. You might feel safe after you leave the mini-boss fight, but be weary as you're leaving. You can run into additional enemies. I've seen as much as 10 to 12 extra enemies down there, so don't think it's just a quick little cakewalk to the sewers. Usually it is, but there is an off chance that a bunch of more bad boys can spawn and mess you up. So you don't want to die as you're crossing the finish line. Stay tight, stay ready, and beat town, baby. If a light post breaks, fire can drop and hurt stuff, so try to use those to your advantage, or jump around like a maniac and melee them on accident and light yourself on fire. That's usually my strat. Cauldron room glitch? What is that? What is the cauldron room glitch? What the hell did I write here? So there's a screenshot? Man, do I know how to keep it profesh. There ain't no goddamn screenshot. Cauldron room glitch. Oh, the cauldron room glitch. Oh my god. Okay, so there is a specific room in Sulfur that can, like, it's weird. There's a spawn area. How do I put this? There's 2 doors in this room, a cauldron in the middle. It's almost like a poker playing room, like somebody's little house, and it interconnects out to a balcony, actually. And in this room, enemies, once they enter it, have a hard time leaving it. So you can have them stuck at that door. They'll go to either side, and you can come up, and they won't leave. They'll get stuck there. It's a very strange glitch that has to do with them not being able to step over an invisible piece of wood that was there when you broke your way in. At least that's what it seems to me. Sometimes the dogs will lunge their way out, but remember, they don't care what anyone says. The rules of nature don't apply to them. So dogs won't listen. And other enemies too if you get too close. So you can lure them in there, throw a grenade, get distance, shoot them in their shoulders, or get cocky and get close enough to where you can pop them real quick. But they're gonna have a hard time getting through those doors for whatever reason. This will obviously be fixed at some point. As of right now, the mines on town are inactive. At least all the ones that I've seen recently. I always make sure to walk over them. They won't explode. Don't be too scared of the mines right now, but definitely try not to get used to that. Be careful in the future. Those mines can mess you up. Okay, so the most important thing when it comes to town is this is where you should learn to kite. A lot of people are forced to learn to kite once they get to dungeon. I myself had to realize that kiting was important when I got to dungeon. That's an area that you don't know about because you're watching a video on town. Bleep it. It's bleeped. Kiting is really useful in Sulfur. You may have used it in caves. I don't know. I hadn't played zombies in so long that I had to remember how to kite, but kiting is just where you take enemies and have them follow you. You run and you keep your distance and then turn around, shoot, and the enemies will kind of glob together, group up, and follow you, and you can make them follow you like a kite. So use that to your advantage, and town is where you really should start using that. That's going to help you throughout the rest of the game. It could be harder in some other levels. Did I say sewers a bunch? And I guess I'm not going to bleep them. I'm not going to bleep them. Sewers and dungeon are 2 areas in Sulfur, all right? That's the smallest spoiler of all time. I am so sorry. I'm not going to bleep them because I don't remember how many I said. And it could be a lot. And I don't want to sit here bleeping like the entirety of this video because I'm an idiot. It's a very small, it's a minor spoiler, okay? Fine, I'll put a giant spoilers tag over the thumbnail so that nobody's mad at me. But I think that's all I got for town, you guys. The game is a lot simpler than it seems. It's very complex in the sense that there's so much in it, but once you start to realize what you're doing and get a handle of things, and that's what you're going to do in town, is you're going to rage a bunch and eventually get the hang of the game. It's a trial by fire. It's incredibly difficult compared to caves, but once you get the hang of it, anything else the game has to throw at you, you will be able to handle. So, in a way, town is a blessing. I hated it for a long time because of that difficulty spike, but I've come to realize that it helped me a lot. Sure, difficulty spikes in video games can be more frustrating than anything when they first happen. It's kind of a blessing and a curse because you're used to it now. You get used to it real quick. And then you just mope through the rest of the game and you enjoy yourself. Damn it. Just like I enjoyed having this conversation with you. Now, remember, if I forgot anything, use the comment section to clear that up. And also, just have a conversation about Sulfur. We all know we can't get enough Sulfur, so let's keep talking about Sulfur. At the end of the day, that's the only reason I do this, is because I love Sulfur. I love making content. I love talking to you. I love just doing stuff that you like to watch, maybe. You like to watch? You like to watch. That so freaking weird to say. And I did it anyway. I said it like 3 times. That's like a repetitive, weird thing to say. Back to the wholesome bit real quick. I do it because I love Sulfur. I'm grateful that Perfect Random bestowed its greatness upon us with this game. I'm grateful that I met all of you guys, and I'm grateful that you wanted me to make a follow-up to my caves guy. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of work to do these. I try my best, and they might not be perfect, but I try my best. So it takes a lot out of me, and I put everything I got into it. Every little thing. All my energy. My kid tonight is going to be like, play, daddy, and she's going to be picking my arm up, and I'm going to be like, shut up. Let me die. Let me vegetate until I'm dead. No, it's not that bad. That is the reason why it could take a little bit of time for me to get these videos out. Also, he's like 9 months old, so he can't speak. So he's not going to say any of that. He's just going to bite my arm. He's going to bite all over me until I'm numb. He's like raw. The kid will just chew through you if you don't react quick enough. Babies are crazy. They're nuts. But if it takes a little bit to get this out and it takes a little bit to get the next one out, I do apologize. I do my best to make these. I just want to keep talking about Sulfur. I just want to hang out with you guys, and I want to never learn the lesson on how to end a video, how to stop talking. How do you do it? How do you do it?